Hello everyone, this is Asra Sultana, Assistant Professor in Triple Department, working in ISL Engineering College. I am taking the subject Electrical Machines 1 for Triple second year students. So we have discussed about various types of DC generators and numericals based on these types of DC generators. What are the various losses in a DC machine we have seen in the previous classes. So today's class I am going to discuss about the open circuit characteristics of separately excited DC generator. And also we are going to discuss about the armature reaction in a DC machine. Let us see what we have seen in the previous classes. We have seen about the types of DC generators and they are classified as permanent magnet DC generators, separately excited and self-excited. So all this classification is based on how the field coils are excited. Okay. Now if the field coils of a DC generator is excited by permanent magnet, then it is called as permanent magnet DC generator. So these are used in very small generators, small machines we can say, and they are rarely used. So whereas the other excitation techniques like separately and self-excited generators, they are widely used. Now, if the field coils are excited by some external source, then it is called as separately excited DC generator. And if the field coils are excited by the generator itself, then it is called as self-excited DC generators. So, it may be asked for a short question in SAQ. How do you classify DC generators based on the type of excitation? So, you can write these methods. Okay. So permanent magnet DC generators are those whose field windings are excited by permanent magnets. Separately excited generators are those whose field winding or field coils are excited by some external source. And self-excited DC generators are those whose field coils are excited by generator itself. So again, self-excited generators are classified depending upon how the shunt field and series field windings are connected, or how the field winding and armature winding are connected to each other. Then they are classified as three types: series, shunt, and compound. So this is a diagram where we can see all the types of generators and their connection diagrams. Okay, so in this diagram you can see separately excited generator. A1, A2 is the armature winding, F1, F2 is the field winding, and this is when I have put a round and a circle and I put a G here. This is generator. These two are brushes. F1, F2 is the field winding. So separately excited, we are exciting the field winding separately. Okay, through some DC source. It can be battery or etc. And generator converts mechanical energy to electrical energy. So whatever case may be, whether it is generator or motor, field winding has to be excited by some means. Okay. Now let us see the self-excited generator. It is divided into shunt, series, and compound. Shunt generator is one in which armature winding is in parallel with the field winding. A1, A2 is the armature winding here. F1, F2 is the field winding. And coming to series, A1, A2 is the armature winding, S1, S2 is the field winding here, and they are in series. That is, field winding is in series with armature winding. Here, see, number of turns of shunt winding is more. Number of turns will be more here, and here number of turns for series will be less. Okay, and the series field winding is denoted by S1, S2. Shunt field winding is denoted by F1, F2. Now let us see the compound generator, long shunt and short shunt. Short shunt, what we can see, field winding is shunt field winding is in parallel with only armature winding, whereas in long shunt we can see shunt field winding is in parallel with both armature and series field winding. Okay, so like we can connect short shunt like this, and connection of long shunt is like this. So if you remember this diagram, then it is easy for us to write the voltage, current, power equations. So let us see in detail the type of generators and their equations related with them. Okay, this is a separately excited generator. IA is the armature current, that is the current coming out of armature is IA, I suffix A. IL is the load current, V is the terminal voltage, and this is the supply source of excitation. It is a some battery, and here it is IF is the field current. So we are writing the equations by seeing the diagram. Voltage drop will be IA into RA, And let us say that IA is IL equal to I, because both are in series with each other. IA and IL are in series, so we are taking this as some current I. IA is equal to IL is equal to I, and voltage drop is voltage across the load is I into RA. I can write this I as IARA or I as ILRA. Anything is same. Now power generated and power given to the load we are finding out. So power generated in the generator or in the armature is given as PG is equal to EG into I, and power given to the load is given as PL is V into I. Now let us see what is self-excited generators. So what is self-excited generators? If the generators are uh, excited or energized from the current supplied by themselves, then they are called as self-excited DC generators. So what is happening in self-excited DC generators? Field winding is excited by itself, that is internally it is connected with the armature and it is getting excited by itself. So there is a concept called as residual magnetism. So according to this residual magnetism, some amount of flux is always present in the poles. So whenever armature is rotated, some EMF is induced in it. So what is happening here? Some amount of current will be produced. This small current will flow through the coil and as well as through the load, and it will strengthen the pole flux. So what we are telling here, according to residual magnetism, some amount of voltage is always present inside the poles, and whenever armature is rotated, some current will flow and this small current will flow through the coil and load, and hence flux will be strengthened. So flux is strengthening, so it is producing more amount of voltage or EMF, and which will cause further increase in the current. Okay, small voltage, small current, small flux. So flux is getting strengthened, again producing more flux, more EMF, more current. Okay, so this is cumulative phenomena, and it is getting continued until the excitation is reaching the rated value. I hope residual magnetism is clear to everyone. So according to position of the field coil, self-excited DC generators are classified as series wound generators, shunt wound generators, and compound wound generators. So in series wound, wheel windings are connected in series with the armature conductors. Okay. So this is the diagram of a series wound generator. This is armature. EG is the EMF generated in a generator. IA is the armature current. ISE is the series current. IL is the load current, and this is series field winding. V is the terminal voltage. So what we can see here, that IA is equal to ISC is equal to IL. All three currents are in line or in series. All these currents are equal. So the whole current flows through the field coils as well as the load. And series field winding will carry full load current. So it is designed with relatively few turns of thick wire. So here, as I said earlier, the turns of series field winding will be very few. Uh, 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 because it has to carry the full load current, and also its resistance is very low. Okay, resistance is low, current is high, that is why series field winding is will be having very few number of turns. So RSC is series winding resistance, ISC is the current flowing through the series field, RA is the armature resistance, IA is the armature current, IL is load current, V is terminal voltage, and EG is generated EMF. Students, all of you should note down all the diagrams and equations and the terms related with these diagrams. Note down, okay? Now, all three currents are equal in series winding, that is IA is ISC is equal to IL is equal to I, and voltage across the load is given as V is equal to EG minus I into RA. Now, we can write V is equal to E minus IARA, or we can write E is equal to V plus IARA. Power generated is equal to PG is EG into I, and power given to the load is equal to PL is V into I. See students, here slight change. I kept this I, if we are putting outside, no need of writing IA inside. Okay. So V is equal to EG minus I into RA, and power generated is equal to PG is equal to EG into I, and power given to the load is V into I or V into IL. Anything is okay. Shunt wound DC generators. Here field windings are connected in parallel with the armature conductors, and voltage in the field winding is same as the voltage across the terminal. You can see here shunt field winding number of turns will be more. Okay, and current which is developed in the armature, that is IA, is getting divided into ISH and IL. ISH is the current flowing in shunt field winding. IL is the current flowing through the load, and EG is the EMF generated in the generator. So RSH is shunt winding resistance, ISH is current flowing through the shunt field, RA is armature resistance, IA is armature current, IL is load current, V is terminal voltage, and EG is generated EMF. So armature current IA is divided into two parts. There is ISH and IL. ISH is nothing but shunt field current, and IL is load current. So effective power across the load will be maximum whenever IL is maximum. So we have to keep the shunt field current as small as possible. That is why we are keeping the resistance of shunt field winding as high, and number of turns will be more. Okay, so the number of turns of shunt field winding will be more, and number of turns of series field winding will be less. So in series field winding current will be more, in shunt field winding current will be less, and resistance is high in shunt field winding, resistance is low in series field winding. So shunt field current ISH will be equal to V by RSH, and voltage across the load is EG minus IARA. Power generated in the generator is EGIA, and power given to the load is V into IL. So in compound wound generator, both series and parallel connection will be there, and output voltage is directly proportional with the load current here, and output voltage is inversely proportional to load current in case of shunt generator, and output voltage is directly proportional to load current in case of series generator. So combination of these two types can overcome the disadvantages of both the generators. That is, uh, this is called as compound wound DC generator, where we are seeing the combination of both series and parallel connection. So compound wound generator have both series and shunt field winding, and one winding is placed in series with the armature and other is placed in parallel with the armature. And again, these are of two types: short shunt compound generator and long shunt compound generator. So this is a short shunt compound generator, where we can see shunt field winding is in parallel with armature winding only, and this is series winding. Now IA is the armature current, and that is equal to ISH plus IL, and IL is equal to ISC here. So IL is equal to ISC, and ISH is V plus ISC RSC by RSH, and uh, IA is equal to IL plus ISH, V equal to EG minus IARA minus ISC RSC, and volt power generated is equal to EGIA, and power given to the load is V into IL. Long shunt compound generator are those where shunt field winding is in parallel with both series field winding and armature winding. Now here we can see this shunt field winding is in parallel with both the series winding and armature winding. IA is equal to ISC, and also IA is equal to IL plus ISH. And ISH is V by RSH, ISC is IL plus ISH, and V equal to EG minus IARA minus ISC RSC. Power generated will be equal to EGIA, and power given to the load is V into IL. Now another classification of compound generator is cumulative compound generator and differentially compound. So in cumulative compound, the currents are both the currents ISC and ISH are in same direction, and hence their fluxes are also adding each other. Whereas in differential compound, we can see current of series field winding and shunt field winding are opposing each other. Fluxes are also opposing each other. So cumulative fluxes are adding each other. Differential compound fluxes are opposing each other. Now let us see very important concept, armature reaction in a DC machine. Now we are already studied this in the second unit also. This topic very deeply we have studied what is magnetization, cross magnetization, demagnetization, everything we have seen in the previous. So just I am giving a reminder what is armature reaction, so that in the when we are studying the characteristics of DC machine, there this term armature reaction we are going to see. So in a DC machine, carbon brushes are always placed at the magnetic neutral axis. See here, this is magnetic neutral axis, geometric neutral axis. Okay. So these are the direction of current flowing into the plane of the paper, coming out of plane of the paper, and this is the north and south poles. So in a DC machine, carbon brushes are always placed at the magnetic neutral axis, and at no load condition, magnetic neutral axis will coincide with the geometric neutral axis. So when the machine is loaded, armature flux is directed along the interpolar axis, and it is triangular in wave shape. So what we are telling here is that there are two axes, that is magnetic neutral axis and geometric neutral axis, and these two should coincide when there is no load. During no load condition, MNA should coincide with the GNA. Okay. So this will result in armature current flux directed along the brush axis and causes cross magnetization of the main field. when that is happening when machine is loaded. Okay, whenever machine is loaded, armature flux is directed along the interpolar axis. Interpolar axis is the axis in between magnetic poles. And so once this is happening, when the generator is getting loaded, armature current flux will be directed along the brush axis and causes the cross magnetization of the main field. And this cross magnetization effect results in the concentration of the flux at the trailing pole tip in generator action and leading pole tip in motor action. So armature reaction is happening both in case of generator and in case of motor. So in case of generator, what is happening? Cross magnetization effect will result in the concentration of flux at the trailing pole tip of the generator. So armature, what is armature reaction? Effect of armature flux on main flux is called as armature reaction. So what we are telling here is that along with the main flux is the flux which is created by the poles of a magnet. Now, armature flux is the flux which is created by the armature winding, because whenever in generator, what is happening? Mechanical energy is getting converted into electrical energy. Okay, mechanical energy we are giving to the armature, that is through some prime mover. That prime mover can be any turbine or engine or any other DC motor. So through prime mover, we are giving the mechanical energy to the generator, and generator converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. Through Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, EMF is getting induced. So whenever voltage is getting induced in the armature conductors, current will also flow. So current is flowing, and hence flux is also generated inside the armature conductors. So that flux is called as armature flux. So effect of armature flux on main flux is called as armature reaction. So two things are happening, two disadvantages are happening because of this armature reaction. First thing is that the distortion of the main flux is happening. Second thing is the voltage is getting reduced. Okay, so these two effects of armature reaction. Now let us see the open circuit characteristics or magnetic or magnetization characteristics of separately excited DC generator. So we are plotting a curve between field current and generated voltage. That is, field current is denoted by IF and generated voltage is denoted by E naught. And we are getting the open circuit characteristics of a separately excited DC generator. So open circuit, in short form, we can write it as OCC. Okay, OCC or magnetic or magnetization characteristics of a DC generator, separately excited DC generator, we are going to see now. So plot of this curve is practically same for all types of generators, whether they are separately excited or self-excited generators. So we are plotting a curve between IF, field current, and generated voltage E naught. And this curve is also known as no load saturation characteristic curve of DC generator. This is the magnetization characteristics. Field current on x-axis we are taking, and no load voltage E naught on y-axis we are taking. This is increase in speed. N1, N2, N3 are the speeds. N3 is greater than N2 and N2 is greater than N1. So in this figure we can see that variation of EMF on no load with field current for different fixed speeds. So for different speeds we are seeing the what is the value of E naught. Okay. And for higher value of constant speed, steepness of the curve will be more. When field current is 0, for the effect residual magnetism in the poles, there will be small initial EMF OA. Okay, here we can see here, it is not starting from 0. Curve is not starting from 0, it is starting from A point. So OA is the, because of this residual magnetism, some amount of voltage is present inside the machine. Okay, that is why it is starting, our OCC is starting from a point which is a little bit away from this O. Let us consider a separately excited DC generator giving its no load voltage E naught for a constant field current. If there is no armature reaction and armature voltage drop in the machine, then voltage will remain constant. Okay, voltage will be constant whenever there is no armature reaction and no voltage drop. So we are plotting a graph between rated voltage on y-axis and load current on x-axis. Then curve will be a straight line and parallel to x-axis like this. Yeah, like this. So we are not considering if we are not considering armature reaction drop and armature reaction, then curve will be a straight line AB. Okay. So if there is no armature reaction and armature voltage drop in the machine, then voltage will remain constant. And when we are plotting a graph between rated voltage on y-axis and load current on x-axis, then curve will be a straight line and parallel to x-axis. So AB is the no load voltage E naught in the figure. Now when the generator is loaded, then the voltage drops due to the two main reasons. Okay. So voltage is getting drop in the DC generator because of two main reasons. First reason is due to armature reaction and second reason is due to ohmic drop IaRa. Some amount of voltage will get drop at the armature, that is that voltage is nothing but IaRa. So voltage is getting drop because of two reasons. First is armature reaction, second is IaRa drop. Now apart from these open circuit characteristics, there are internal characteristics or total characteristics of separately excited DC generators. Internal and external, two are there. Okay, apart from OCC, internal and external two characteristics are there. So internal characteristics of separately excited DC generator will be obtained by subtracting the drops due to armature reaction from no load voltage. So what we are doing to get this internal or total characteristics, we are subtracting the voltage drop due to armature reaction from no load voltage, and we are plotting a curve between IL and EG. See, we are plotting first for no load characteristics IL versus E naught, for internal characteristics IL versus EG, and for external characteristics IL versus V. So the curve of actually generated voltage EG will be slightly dropping, and AC line in the diagram indicates actually generated voltage EG with respect to load current, and this curve is called as total characteristic of separately excited DC generator. I hope internal characteristics is clear to everyone. So because of this armature reaction drop, this internal characteristics is below the OCC. AC is the internal characteristics, AD is the external characteristics, AB is the OCC. When we see the external characteristics of separately excited generator, it is obtained by subtracting the drops due to ohmic loss IaRa in the armature from the generated voltage Eg. So if we are subtracting Eg minus IaRa, then we are going to get the terminal voltage value. The external characteristics we are plotting between IL and V, terminal voltage. So this curve is giving the relation between terminal voltage and the load current, and external characteristics will lie below the internal characteristics because of ohmic voltage drop. So here line AD is indicating the change in the terminal voltage with increasing load current. So I hope this internal and external characteristic curve is clear to everyone. Okay. So internal characteristics is below OCC because of armature reaction drop, and external is below internal because of ohmic voltage drop. OCC we are plotting between IL and E naught. Uh, Internal we are plotting between IL and EG. External we are plotting between IL and V. So we can see from the figure that whenever load current increases, terminal voltage will decrease slightly, and this decrease in terminal voltage is maintained easily by increasing the field current and thus increasing the generated voltage. So we can get a constant terminal voltage. Let us see the disadvantages and advantages of a separately excited DC generator. Separately excited DC generators have many advantages over self-excited DC generators. It can operate in stable condition with any field excitation and will give a wide range of output voltage. So when we compare separately excited with self-excited, we can see that separately excited can operate in stable condition with any field excitation, and disadvantage of separately excited generator is that it is very expensive of providing a separate excitation source. Okay, so we have to provide separately excitation, and that is costly or expensive. Okay, thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope today's class is clear to everyone. Students, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. However, we have cleared the doubts in offline class also when I conducted. Um, so all the students should watch the video from start till the end, and prepare notes from the video. Okay, after watching the video, you have to prepare the notes and keep it ready. Whenever we ask the notes, you have to produce it. Okay, thank you everyone for watching the video. One more thing, students. So we have discussed about the losses also, various losses in DC machine. That also I want to once discuss in this class. Very important concept. Losses are nothing but what? So output is not equal to input because of the losses. Okay, and efficiency of the machine will get decreased. So losses are of three types, that is the iron losses, copper losses and mechanical losses. Uh, Copper losses are again of three types, that is shunt field copper loss, series field copper loss and armature copper loss, right? So what is copper loss? Copper loss is current loss, that is I square R losses. I square R losses are the copper losses and these are variable losses because current will vary. That is why I square R will vary and hence copper losses will vary. So our copper losses are of three types: armature copper loss, shunt field copper loss and series field copper loss. If it is armature copper loss, we denote it by Ia square Ra. If it is shunt field copper loss, we denote it by ISH square RSH. If it is series field copper loss, ISC square RSC. Now coming to iron losses. Iron losses are of two types, hysteresis and eddy current losses. Iron losses are also called as core losses. So what are iron losses? These are not the iron losses are nothing but hysteresis and eddy current losses. So all the current should be confined to the winding, but it is not happening so. Some amount of current will go into the core also, armature core, here in this case in generator. So that is not so useful current, and because of that the machine gets heated up. Okay, so losses will occur because of this eddy current. So those losses are called as eddy current losses. And to overcome eddy current losses, we have to laminate the core. Okay, laminations are done to reduce the eddy current losses. Now coming to hysteresis losses are the losses which are happening because the property of the magnetic material is to restrict the flow of flux from one direction to another direction. It will not allow the magnetic reversal. So some amount of flux is or voltage is getting uh, reduced, or we can say that some amount of uh, losses are occurring because of this stoppage of flux from one direction to another direction. That is called as hysteresis losses. And hysteresis losses can be minimized by using a material of high grade silicon steel material. Coming to mechanical losses are classified as two types, friction and windage losses. Friction losses are the losses whenever two bodies are rubbing each other, okay? So that is why some sparks will be taking place at that place, that is at the brushes and bearings. These friction losses will occur, okay? And windage losses are nothing but because of air. Some amount of dust can come inside the machine and rust can be accumulated on the machine, and that is why uh, some losses will be occurring. Okay, so these are the windage losses. So losses are of three types: iron, copper and mechanical. Copper losses are of three types: the armature copper loss, shunt field and series field. Iron losses are of two types: hysteresis and eddy current. Mechanical losses are of two types: uh, friction and windage. Okay, thank you students for watching the video. I hope today's class is clear to everyone. Students should give your attendance, and everyone should watch the video from start till the end and give your attendance. All of you draw these characteristics in your books. Okay. Thank you everyone for watching the video.